Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the studio tonight. So tonight, let's have some fun painting a flower. Here we have a camellia. I know it's a pretty small painting of a camellia. Let me zoom in so you can see it there. That's probably a little bit better. So what we have is a nice, beautiful flower. It's got this yellow stamen, I believe it is. I'm not a botanist. So I don't know necessarily all the right terms, but I think that's right. It is all these little things that the bees and flies and bugs come and want to get the nectar out of here in the center. And we've got these nice, beautiful petals. So what we're going to do with these petals is we're going to paint them. This nice pinky orange color, darker on the outside, and let that color fade back into the center here where it's going to be almost white. See, we've got some really nice dark colors here, and in the center some very, very light colors. So here it is. I've gone ahead and drawn this by hand, and that's what we have. And so tonight I'm going to be using my studio palette. Here it is. I'm going to set that off to the side. Let me back this out just a little bit for you. There you go. Get my brush wet, and we are off. And so I'm just going to pick this. I believe this is Pyrrole Red. I'm going to mix a little bit of a warm yellow into that. Ooh, there we go. We got a nice orangey, pinky mix. And we've got some other red, I believe. I don't know. I can't find my crib sheet. Set it somewhere. There we go. I lied. I can find it. So our first red that we used here was Pyrrole Red. I was right about that. And this is Quinacridone Rose, which is really going to make a pinky color. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to start on the outside with a nice strong color just to set our leaf shape. Then we're going to get our brush wet. I'm just dipping my brush in some water, tapping it off. And we're going to see if we can't coax that color to come down the rest of the way for us. Just something like that. There we go. That's going to look really nice. Now all we're going to do that is the same thing a few more times, and I'm just going to tip my paper. Let's see, I'm going to do this one, which is not necessarily in front. Since it's not one of the front petals, I want to just barely leave a tiny white gap between the colors I'm painting and the petal in front. Just, if we can, just the slightest white gap in there. There we go. And again, just let that color, we're just going to coax that color all the way down. And if we do it, if our timing is right, we can get that all the way down. I'm just going to continue rotating my paper over. We can get all that color all the way to the center. We can actually add whatever water or color we need to. And if our timing is right, we're not going to get any real back runs. We don't have to worry about that. We won't get any dry spots in there. We won't have any real problems. All we're going to do is have a nice graded wash all the way to the center of this plant. And as I go around here, I just want to leave just ever so slight a bit of white in between the two pieces if I can. If you can't, it's not a big deal. I'm just going to go back and take just the tiniest little sliver off of there. There you go. Let's see. Now this was a pretty small area here. God, I hope you guys can see that. I'm working on something that's pretty small. And the video screen I'm looking at to see what you're seeing is tiny. So it's hard for me to tell sometimes if you can actually see what I'm working on. I hope you can. The true test for me is when I get the video off of the camera into my computer and I start editing. Then I can say, oh, that was a good shot, or oh, that was terrible. What was I thinking? But until then, I'm never exactly certain what's going on with what I'm filming. So I know I'm turning the paper quite a bit, and from time to time you guys tell me that it's a bit too much. It's hard to see because you're turning the paper so much, and I know I am. I'm sorry, I don't mean to do that. It's just that it's easier to paint pulling down towards me. And so sometimes I've got to do that. Well, maybe I don't have to do that. I feel like I have to do that. So if it gets to be a bit much, I apologize. I don't mean to do it. I'm not trying to do anything that's going to make it harder for you to watch. Because I love when you guys watch my videos, and I like to get in the comments that you guys write, but it's sometimes hard for me to hold the paper still and do everything else. Who am I kidding? Sometimes it's hard for me to paint and talk at the same time. But hopefully I don't do too bad a job with it. Hopefully you guys are learning a little bit. This is just kind of the same thing over and over and over again. Find one that's furthest away from your current wet paint. Turn your paper and go for it. Give it a paint. And good things will happen when you do that. I know because I've done it. There we go. I'm going to give that one a little bit extra paint right in there. Just going to pull that in. Oh, just like that. That one looks nice. So then I'm going to turn it again. I know I'm turning. There we go. But you guys see what I'm doing. There we go. I should say this is not a picture of the camellias in my yard. I do have camellias in my yard, but this is not one of them. Mine haven't flowered in a while. Well, that's not true. I got a couple of blooms off of them this year, but I live in California and we have such a drought that I haven't been watering much in my yard lately, and as a result, we haven't had too much blooming and flowering this year. We're watering just enough so that everything stays alive, but not so much that it's going to thrive all that much. So let's hope that the water is going to come back at some point, or that they'll build a big desalination plant and we'll get some water in here from which to water all of our plants in our gardens and whatnot. There we go, and I have one right in the middle to do here. I kind of have saved that till last, and you've probably been wondering why I haven't done it yet. And the reason is, I don't know, I don't have a good reason. That's a terrible reason. No, it just, I wanted to be able to continue to paint around that one, because right in the center where that one's at are most of the yellow stamen, and I don't want to cover all of them up. And there we go. I'm going to do that. And I'm going to get a slightly smaller brush. And I'm going to get a slightly darker mixture of paint, because underneath here, oops, I got too wet. Underneath here is the back side. Let me let you zoom in so you can see what the heck I'm talking about here. This is the back side. This petal is kind of cupped, so I want to indicate that that is cupped just ever so slightly. There we go. And if I really want to do that, I should take out just a bit of the color right over there. Something like that. That's probably going to give me a nice bloom right there. That's okay, we'll deal with it. Okay, so I got that part done, and now I've got to get this nice yellow, whoa, maybe I should get on camera. Now I got to get this nice yellowy bit right in the center, so I'm going to go up. I barely have any of my favorite gamboge left, but I'm going to use what I have of that. And there we go. I'm going to tap that in. Somehow I got a hair on my brush. I'm going to tap some in just like this. There we go. If you can see that, now I'm going to zoom in again. And I'm going to take a liner brush, a rigger. Here we go. And I'm going to take that mixture and just darken it a little bit. I'm going to use a little bit of ochre to do that. And I'm just going to put in a few lines. Not even many, just enough that I'm hoping you'll be able to see a few. I don't think you can. I'm not even sure I can. I can see about 3 of them. We're going to call it good. I don't want to overwork it. Whoa! I don't want to overwork that and then end up in some bad place. I'd rather leave it the way it is. We'll go in and put a couple of shadows in on that in just a second. And we're going to call that good. I'm just going to clean off my palette, get that red off of there. We're going to focus on our greens. I'm sap green, olive green here, and cobalt green, and phthalo green here. So we're going to use those, and we're going to paint a little bit of green right around our flower here. And red and green are opposites on the spectrum, so it should help it to pop right out of there. So let's see. I like this phthalo green, but it is pretty strong. There we go. And if you've seen me do a background before, we're doing something very similar. No, we're not. We're doing something exactly the same. I want to put in my green colors around our plant. I'm going to put it in kind of a line here. Oop. All right, and I'm mixing in my colors. I'm mixing my greens. I don't want to have just one group of green somewhere and call that good. I like to mix the colors up So it makes it seem like it's a really kind of an active background. I'm going to put even a little bit of yellow in here. Makes it seem really active, like there's movement or something going on in there. And we get that illusion without having to do a whole lot of work on our own. We let the paint do that for us. The only thing we have to do is kind of be careful that we don't paint over our flower, which I almost did right there. That would have been terrible. There we go. I'm not going to do too much more with this. I don't want to totally fill up the background. I just want to give the indication of some color here and there. Yeah, maybe I'll join those two. Something like that, but you can see, if you were just to take a quick look at that, that background looks alive back there, and we didn't do anything to do that. You know what? We'll do the same thing over here. We'll just do it. We'll make it the whole thing. And to paint that background, it's going to take no time. We're just dropping some color on in random order. And it looks like it's alive. It looks like something is going on in the background back there. There we go. That's all we're going to do with that. I'm going to see what we can do here to help our yellow. Let's see. I need a thick color here. Let me push that off to the side for just a second so you can see what I'm doing over here. See, I'm taking my yellow and I'm mixing in a little bit of this orange, just like that. And I am just going to, just like I did when I put it on, I'm just going to make a couple of drops. It's not quite dry. I'm just going to make a couple of drops on there. I'm not even going to pretend to be painting it. I'm just going to put those drops on there, and I'm not going to do any more than that. I think that's going to look good just as it is. So there you go. Where I wish I had a pen I could sign this with. Here's one. Here we go. We're done with our Camellia. Let me just sign that. There it is. I had a great time painting this with you tonight. I hope you enjoyed painting it with me. I hope to see you here in the studio again. Subscribe to my channel and you'll get notifications of every painting that I post, every video that I post. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up, and that's it. I hope to see you back here in the studio again. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.